afternoon. So I'm going to take care of some like housekeeping things first. First of all, I don't care if you have on a do-rag, no makeup, your hair looks crazy, you still got slob on the side of your mouth because you woke up just in time for this. I want to see some faces today. I braved the elements of life to come on this and showed my face. So I'm gonna need a little bit of sisterhood today. I don't know if you know this, but for speakers, when you all are sitting in darkness, it's hard to get energized when you just see names. When you see people's faces, you get energized from that as speakers. So I don't know what your professor's like, but me personally as a speaker, I get my energy from people. And so I really want to see as many faces as I can. I appreciate you. I don't care what we look like. This is the one time that women just get to be women. Give yourself permission to look crazy if you want to, because it's just us. We're not trying to impress anybody. We are just going to be us today. I'm going to take questions at the end. I'm going to give you all an opportunity to ask me anything I don't cover that you want me to cover. I'm going to give you the opportunity to do that. I'm going to share the screen from time to time. I have big energy. But I want to preface by saying, when I first committed to this, life was, 2021 had kicked off, and like everybody else, I was looking forward to being out of 2020. Okay, I'm like, but be careful what you pray for. I was so glad to be out of 2020. And then on the 9th of January, the decision was made to move my mother to home hospice. And life was crazy. I mean, because we know that once hospice comes, the time is short. We thought months. They told us that they anticipated months, but certainly not years, but months. Because once you enter hospice, you could be there anywhere from days to about 6 months. And so we anticipated months, but indeed it was less than a week. On January 13th, I had already made this commitment. I lost my mom, who is my hero and my champion, and we buried her last Thursday. And so I posted on Facebook today. I was like, y'all, I got to do this speech today, and I have a heavy heart. And quite frankly, I just want to hide under the covers. But I was raised by an amazing woman who taught me to honor my commitments. And so I decided today I was going to speak to you about this notion of purpose, because purpose is what gets me out of bed every single day. And so I just am excited to have the opportunity to pour into you, and then to also offer you the opportunity to pour back, because I believe that this process is a sisterhood where we share. I'm going to give you some stuff and you're going to give me some stuff. My cup is full today, that in spite of everything that's going on in my life, my cup is full. And I always tell everybody, the cup is for me. The overflow is for you. And so not only is it full today, it's overflowing, because the opportunity to pour is a blessing. And I get to walk in my purpose, and I feel so honored to do that today. I'm going to go back and forth between my screens. I normally don't share screens. I don't do slides. I don't do any of that. But COVID and being virtual has made folks do things that they normally don't do. So I'm going to go back and kind of share, just so I chose some really clever like screen things. So this speech today is titled, now for all of you who practice grammatical correctness, because this is college, I didn't want to come on and be grammatically incorrect. So I called it Get Your Life. Well, what I really call it is Get Your Life. Girl, get your life. I hope that you will bear with me, that you won't think it's how do I phrase this? That you won't think that it's not academically astute to if I say get your life. Some of you are kind of spiraling around and wondering like what's next, and I don't know what to do in COVID, and you've got 100 excuses. But one of my favorite people is Mary Frances Berry. She said people have a million reasons why they can't do something when all they really need is one reason why they can. So today I'm going to remove all of your excuses for not succeeding. I'm going to remove all of those, and I'm going to tell you, girl, get your life. Is that all right? Girl, get your life. So the first thing I want to tell you, the first step to getting your life, notice that all these women are hugging themselves. They're hugging themselves. The first step to getting your life is loving you enough to believe that you deserve a good life. Now I'm going to come off. I'm going to stop the screen because I want to talk to you. I want us to talk. Women labor under this notion that for us to feel good, for us to prosper, for us to be doing well, something is wrong with that. And people start when you aren't in the doldrums and when you're not in the valley of life every single day. Something must be wrong with you. You're a little too arrogant. You're a little too cocky. You're a little too all of those things. And I always want to just stop for women and say, I need you to love you enough to believe that you deserve to get your life. And not just any life, a good life. There was a time in my life, I would love to tell you, I've always felt like I was the amazing T Street. There's a long story to where that comes from. It's not really that I think I'm all that amazing. It's a long story that came from childhood. I was trying to be like the great Houdini, and instead a voice in my head told me that I was amazing. And so I didn't even know at 5 years old what the word amazing meant. So no, it's not cocky. But even if it was, I would say it's not cocky, it's confident. When men walk in the world with confidence, we call it confidence. When women have it, we call it arrogance. And I want to start off by giving you a really good definition to arm yourself with. So when you really do start to feel good about you and other people want to come by and throw shade, they want to come by and tell you you're not great, I want to arm you with the definition. Arrogance is the overstatement of one's own self-importance, but confidence is the accurate assessment of your own self-worth. You looked in the mirror and said, I am worthy of self-love. I'm going to start there. I never start with external love. I never go looking. People who know me will tell you, I never go out in search of other people loving me. I always tell people, other people's approval of me is the icing, but it's not the cake. It's the icing. It's not the cake. Whether you like me or not, it's not the cake. It's the icing. You saying, T, you're amazing. That's the icing. Because the cake started with me when I said to myself that I'm amazing. And I decided that I was going to walk into it. I spent most of my adolescence locked up. I was a juvenile delinquent. I came from amazing parents. My parents literally, had my mom survived until September, would have celebrated 60 years of marriage. I came from a good Christian home. They did all the right things. My dad wasn't abusive. My mom was present. My mom was a stay-home mom until all three of my siblings, my two siblings and myself were in school. Great family, and I still made poor choices because there was something broken inside of me. I was short. I was voluptuous. For the record, I'm still short and voluptuous. And for all y'all who didn't take that English class to get that word voluptuous, it's just a nice word for big bone girl. I'm a big girl. I like that term because it just sounds sexier than fat. How about that? So I use the term voluptuous. You can say it with me. Say it in your house. I want to see your lips move. Say voluptuous. Now don't get it twisted. It's not lump, not voluptuous. There are some lumps, but the word is voluptuous. Like we're going to lift up our cups. Voluptuous. That's the word. I like that term. But before I fell in love with being voluptuous, I hated me. And I walked around in the world making everybody pay for my self-hatred, including myself. As I said, I spent most of my adolescence locked up. People say, T, why do you tell young people that story? Because I need you to understand that you can come back from anything. While I was locked up, I was gang raped by 7 girls. It's in my book. People are like, T, you tell everything. I said, look, I tell everything because people will never be able to blackmail me with my own life. I put it in a book. Everything you want to know about me is out there because I believe that when we are honest in telling our stories, when we bring our authentic self to the process, it allows other people to bring their authentic self to the table. It's healing for you, but it's also revolutionary and evolving and transformative for other people to hear it as well, because sometimes people think that they're in this battle called life all by themselves and no one else could possibly understand what they went through. I was suicidal like so many people. I was many, many things. And then one day I encountered a woman who was a teacher who put me back on course. I graduated from Columbus Mifflin High School, have a bachelor's degree from Ohio State and a master's degree from Ohio State. But none of those things matter except for the fact that none of it would have been possible until I learned how to love me unconditionally and without apology. And what that meant is I had to take me where I was. I couldn't wait till I lost weight. And yes, I lost 208 pounds. I couldn't wait till I lost weight to fall in love with me, because if I did, I would have waited most of my adult life to get there. I couldn't wait till I grew taller, because guess what? I didn't. I've been 5 feet tall since 4th grade. If I had been waiting I would have been broken for most of my life. So I had to learn how to fall in love with me. When I was 368 pounds at 5 feet tall, I still learned how to love me unconditionally and without apology. What that means is I don't apologize for my faults. I don't apologize for my flaws. All of those things go into making me who I am. So the first thing I want to tell you is you guys, if you really want to get your life, you've got to know that it's okay to love you enough to believe that you deserve a good life. Once you start to believe it, because belief opens up some doors that other things cannot open. Until you have the belief that you can be successful, that you can overcome whatever you're up against, until you have that belief system, I tell people all the time, that's what faith is. For me, it's walking in the dark and trusting that on the other side, for me, it's God. For some other people, it's other things. But for me, that God has got me. And I had to learn how to walk that out. And it didn't mean that everything was going to be perfect. Just when you start to love yourself, it's not like you're going to wake up the next morning and birds are going to be chirping outside your window like, singing a song. It's not like that. It's always going to be a process and a journey. But if you can learn how to love yourself through the worst times, I tell people I like to love me first thing in the morning. How many of y'all know that the first thing in the morning is the real you? When your breath is stank, you got slob on the side of your face, you got bad head. My things that are right here, right now, this morning when I woke up, they were at my knees. I knew when I chose to love me then that I was loving the real T because I didn't have my Mac on yet. Y'all, yeah, I got my Mac. Y'all see my Mac? I didn't have my Mac on yet. It was just me. I sat in front of the mirror and affirmed me every day. After I get up, I pray, I do worship, and then I stand in front of a full-length mirror, bucket naked. Because I know if I can love that T when I go out in the world, I work with kids and kids are cruel. If I can survive me in the mirror, I can take anything that a kid says to me in a school. I stand in front of the mirror and I'm like, T, 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 T. Girl, you're short, you voluptuous, but girl, you are amazing. I talk to myself, I'll be like, girl, I look so good, I could stop me up with a biscuit. And believe it, y'all. Believe it, right? And then I start to get ready for my day. And so when I go into the world, y'all go into schools, little kids say whatever's on their mind. I remember walking into a school one time. This is when I was 368 pounds. Because I never saw myself as fat, I always saw myself as voluptuous. When people use the term fat, I just assumed they wasn't talking about me, right? So I walked into the school one time. These little kids are standing on this little line. I walked in, and this little boy goes, hey, look at that fat lady. It was little kindergartners. And I turned around and see what they were talking about. There wasn't nobody else there but me. And so I was like, oh, that's right. He must be talking about me because I'm not, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm not fat, little boy. I'm voluptuous. And then I had funny thoughts running through my head. Though I work with kids and I love kids, I'm still human. This thought ran through my head like, I may be fat. Jenny Craig is an option for me. You ugly. What you gonna do? But I didn't say that because I didn't want to mess up his little self-esteem. Y'all know how that is. So anyway, the first step is learning how to love you. Just love you. Don't ask more of you than you're capable of at this moment. Love you at this moment. Don't wait for perfection. Don't wait till your life is straight. Don't wait till some man comes along and loves you. Love you at this moment, unconditionally and without apology. That's the first thing. If you want to get your life, you got to learn how to love you unconditionally and without apology and believe that you deserve a good life. All right, so we're on our way to getting our life. The next thing I want to show you, when you're traveling, you're trying to get your life, and you're like, I don't know what's next. I'm learning how to love me, T. What's next? The next thing up is drive the car that is right for you. Now, y'all will notice there's different colors of these cars. There's different shapes and sizes of the cars. There's some two-seaters. There's some SUVs. There's some yellow cars and some red cars. Everybody who know me know my car is red. I got a red Acura. Now, me, I can't drive a Maserati. A Maserati would make me nervous because I would always, one, be speeding and in jail somewhere. And two, I would always be worried about wrecking this car because it would be worth far more than I would ever be able to afford if I wrecked the car, even with insurance. So me, I don't drive a Maserati, but I drive the heck out of my Acura. I can put my speed on, open up my sunroof, and put the pedal to the metal. I know when to stop. I know when to start. That car is designed just for me. It's red. It's smooth. It's got leather seats. When I lean in my car, it's the right height because I can raise up my seat and still see over the steering wheel. I might not be able to do that in a two-seater car. The other reason that I needed more than a two-seater car is because I was a mom and now I'm a grandma and I got responsibilities. Like when Chase wants to spend time with Kuma, sometimes I gotta have something in the back seat because he can't sit in the front seat. But here's what I will tell you: people spend so much of their time consumed with what other people are doing with their lives and sweating other people for their lives that you don't take time to enjoy the life that was meant for you. It has been said that when we sweat other people and we are envious of that, it robs us of joy. It robs us of joy when we are comparing our lives to other people's lives. So, what? You're at Columbus State. I had somebody say to me, well, why would people go to Columbus State when they could go to Ohio State? I said, if I had it to do all over again, if they hadn't given me a full scholarship, I absolutely would have started at Columbus State. First of all, y'all get to be big dogs in a big pond. Columbus State is one of the largest community colleges in the country. Y'all balling out of control. Every time I talk to David Harrison, I'm like, really, David? You trying to build a kingdom over there. I would have started at Columbus State. Why? Because it would have given me the ability to breathe. Ohio State, I was in classes with 300 people where a professor would never have known my name. And oftentimes I was the only person of color in a class of 300. I would love to have had the experience of a Columbus State. Drive the Columbus State car. Because I can assure you, whether you just decide to just get the associate's degree and go on and do your thing, because guess what? You don't need a 4-year degree in some of the things that you want to do. You don't need that. But if it's what you choose to do, you will be adequately prepared to move to whatever is your next. Don't compare the car that is for you to somebody else. Whatever is your purpose, whatever you're called to do, walk it out. And walk it out with excellence. Because mediocrity is a luxury that women cannot afford. I'm going to drop that for you one more time because I know some of y'all like good quotes. That's a T Street original. Mediocrity is a luxury that women cannot afford. So whatever you're going to walk out, I'm going to need you to walk it out with excellence. And walk it out. And walk it out. Every single day. I don't try to live anybody else's life but mine. Yes, there are some speakers who are better than me. I was going to do a speech for a program called WELD, an organization called WELD a few years ago. And, people claim to love you and they claim to be your friends, but I know my friends from my frenemies. I know my friends from my frenemies, and I know the difference because my friends come to uplift me. And I'm going to talk about that friendship thing in just a little bit. They come to uplift me. They don't throw me backhanded shade. I was getting ready for this, and I was super nervous because that spring they had this speaker named Carla Harris. Carla Harris is my soror. She's a Fortune 500 bad A. That sister is tight. She's bad. I could never afford to bring her, much less be her. Okay. But when I got ready, I was preparing because I'm a youth speaker. I'm not an adult women speaker. So I was already nervous when they invited me. I was like, nah, baby, that's not what I do. I don't roll like that. Adults are so serious. Now y'all know I'm kind of silly and kind of ignorant, and I'm with kids. So I was nervous getting ready. And so about 3 days before I got ready to speak, one of my frenemies, who I've always known was a frenemy, because I have a spirit of discernment and I can discern people, showed up. Some of you know when you meet people in your gut that they're not right. They're not for you. Not everybody who is riding with you is riding for you. And so you got to know the difference. She called me and she said, girl, I heard you speaking it well. Good luck with that. Now, all the rest of my friends were like, T-girl, you got this. My girl Shauna was like, Dan, you got this. Trust me, all day long and twice on Sunday, you got this. You're going to knock their socks off. She proceeded to say, girl, because you got big shoes to fill. Because they just had Carla Harris in May. You got big shoes to fill. At first, I was a little nervous. I was like, for real, that's what we're doing? And all of a sudden, my heart started palpitating. And then something hit me and said, wait a minute, hold up. First of all, you ain't got to be Carla. God didn't call T to be Carla. He just called T to be T. And so I went and did some research because she said I had big shoes to fill. And I found out that Carla wears a size 8 shoe. Well, I've never been able to wear a size 8 shoe. I look funny in an 8 shoe because I'm 5 feet tall. I'm 5 feet tall. I have never been able to wear a size 8 shoe. But I can tell you this, I wear the hell, and yes, I said hell, I wear the hell out of a size 7. Because I ain't got to be Carla. All I got to be is my best T. That's all I can offer at the table is my best me. You ain't got to be like nobody else. You don't have to be like any other student. You don't have to be like a faculty member. You don't have to be like anybody else. All you got to be is your best you. I told my son, I don't expect you to be the best at anything. I expect you to be your best at everything. So whatever that means for you, if your best is a C, be a C, but rock a C. If your best is an A, then you better step up your game if you were to C, because it means you're not rocking out your best. But drive the car that is right for you. All right. So far we learned how to love ourselves and so that we can believe that we deserve to get our lives. Then we're going to drive the car that is right for us. Once we get done driving the car that's right for us, we're going to face this thing called fear. I'm not a big quoter of other people, but I like this. The thing you fear most has no power. Your fear of it is what has the power. Facing the truth really will set you free. Now, the reason I like that is because we give so much power to the things that we fear. But it's the fear that owns the power, not the actual thing. Somebody unmute real quick. Tell me something that you fear. Anybody?
Ellie.
Hang on. I heard somebody unmute for me. Who is
Ellie.
that?
Latasha.
Tasha, was that you? What'd you say?
Failing as a mother.
Failing. Okay, you fear failure. That's a good one. Most people won't admit it, but most people fear failure and they fear success on the other side of the coin because there are two sides of the same coin. I'm going to come back to that. She said she fears failing. Next.
So my name is Jasmine.
Hi, Jasmine.
I fear being abandoned or rejected.
You fear being abandoned and rejected. So many of us don't take the steps that we need because what if we take it and somebody says no to us? So what if we reach out to someone to love us, whether it's in a romantic relationship or in a friendship or in a job? What if we reach out and the answer is no? Most people won't admit that that's a fear, but most of us do. That's why so many people don't reach their goals because they fear that whole notion of abandonment or rejection. Anybody else want to share?
I do. I'm Angela Sloan.
Hi, Angela.
Hi. So, like you, I had some issues from the past, and one of the things that I fear and just like don't want to happen is people bringing up my past, and like I'm not that person anymore. I'm totally different, but that once I get so far that it's going to be brought up.
Got you. Okay, I'm going to address that. I'm going to address that for you. I got the answer for you, Angela. I got the answer.
I thought so, girl.
I got the answer for you. So I heard failure, I heard rejection and abandonment, and I heard the past.
Come here, Malachi.
Did I get everybody? Okay. So here's what I will say to you for all three of those things. It's normal to fear that you might fail. But here's what I can tell you. I am living proof, as are most of the successful people in the world, that failure is not fatal. Almost everyone that I know who has been successful has failed at something, Latasha. Everybody has failed at something. When you ask folks like Bill Gates, who is one of the wealthiest people in the world, failed at college because it was not for him. But guess what? It wasn't fatal because he chose not to stay down. All of us fail and fall. The question is, will you fall down or will you fall up? That's the choice, and it's always a choice. It can't failure can kill you if you choose to stay there. But every day, every time you fall, Latasha, you have the opportunity to choose to get back up. And as long as you choose to get back up, failure will not be fatal for you. So get over that fear of failure because everybody has failed at something. I just wrote a book. I failed at being a parent. I helped to raise a whole million kids and my son is in the street. So in the short term, I failed at being a parent. That was my biggest fear. And guess what? I survived it. I can promise you that you will survive it. Somebody said that they fear abandonment. You fear that somebody won't love you. And that's quite possible. But here's what you got to learn how to do. You got to learn how to love yourself enough for everybody else, everyone else's lack of love. Everyone else's lack of love, lack of acceptance. Just do you. And if you bring your best to the table, that's all anybody can ask for. And so let's say you go up for a job and you don't get the job. Have I not gotten jobs? Yes. Have I gotten jobs that I never applied for? Yes. Have I applied for jobs that I thought I wanted? Yes. And did I not get it? Yes. But I always look at that as whatever I didn't get wasn't for me. So I stopped fearing that someone was going to reject me. When you're 5 feet tall and 368 pounds, which by the way is what caused my self-hatred, was fear that people would never love me looking like that. When I got to middle school, I heard all the jokes you can hear. Chinese, Japanese, dirty knees, look at these, because my eyes are slanted. I had surgery to open them up. That's how badly I felt about my original me. Shame on me, because I didn't have it in middle school, but I forgave myself for not loving me in middle school. So I will say to you, it's quite possible that some folks will reject you. But again, it won't kill you. Kelly Clarkson says, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. But guess what? It feels like it's going to kill us. And I hate when people dismiss us with cliches like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. While it's the truth, while you're in it, it hurts. And it's okay to lick your wounds. It's okay to visit the valleys of life, but it's not okay to stay there. You can't pitch a tent. You can walk through the valley, but at some point you got to climb again. It is not okay to pitch that tent. So if somebody abandons you, shame on them for not realizing that you were worthy of love. And guess what? They missed out on the blessing that will become you. You said, I think it was Angela who said, your past. Angela, when I started building my career, and I've had a pretty big career. I've been the director of education for Columbus, for the mayor, for former Mayor Michael Coleman. I worked for the former Secretary of State. I worked for the state treasurer. I've had big jobs. And as I was building my career, someone that knew me from middle school, and she just did it not long ago on my book signing, always threw up my past. Oh my God, when she was in middle school, she did this and this and this and this. And I remember going to my mom. This is my first book. I'm going to hold it up for you. Actually, you can't even get it online anymore because it's really out of circulation. But it's titled, I'm the Amazing T Street. Wouldn't you like to be amazing too? That's my first book. And I wrote it in 2005 because I went to my mom crying the blues. I said, Mom, every time I'm trying to build my career and I don't, and every time we're in big settings with important people, she always throws up my past. My mom said, so write a book. Tell your own story. That way no one can ever blackmail you, Angela, with your life. And you take the power away from other people when you tell your story. So I want to say to you, even your past can't stop you from your future because your past does not disqualify you from your future. So get over yourself. You're not the same person. Don't let people beat you with an old switch or broom or belt or whatever. Don't let people beat you with your past. You simply say, here's what it was. I'm not that person anymore. That's not who I am. But guess what, Angela, I will say this to you. You're still part of that person because all of who that is, what you've been through helped to make you who you are and who you're going to be. I get to be amazing today because of all the experiences that I've survived. When you're left laying in a pool of your own blood as people gang rape you, I can assure you that it made me strong. It made me know that I could survive anything and that no matter what life threw at me, it wasn't ever going to be as bad as that. So even my past was a bridge to my present and to my future. So I don't even deny that. So what? People throw up your past. You will survive that. Every time you allow fear to be the thing that keeps you from your goals, fear wins. It's fear. It's not the thing that you fear. It's not your past that has power over you. It's your fear that people will know your past. It's not failure that holds you bound. It's the fear of failure. And I can assure you that what is to come is not nearly as scary as the fear and the power that you've given the fear. My greatest fear was heights and flying until I went skydiving. I conquered my fear of heights and flying by skydiving. Because kind of like when you were flying, you up high, they kind of went together. I went skydiving and I conquered my fears of heights and flying. All the things that I'm afraid of, I do. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to come on so close to losing my mom without being super, super emotional and falling apart on the screen. But you all gave me purpose today. I was able to face the fear that I had, which is falling apart on the screen in front of all these people, is a fear of mine. And I haven't wanted to do my first speech. I did not want to do my first speech post my mama because I've been afraid. Every time I've had a conversation in the
I've chosen, I'm trying to get my screen back, guys. Sorry, I apologize. Which is why I've chosen to not, here we go. I made the choice not to speak to people in the last week because let's do this. I just couldn't manage it without falling apart. So I didn't. And today I conquered my fear that I would fall apart by coming on the screen and telling you some stories about my life. And so that no longer holds me bound. And so my next 15 speeches, and I have 15 in the next month, my next 15 speeches will be easy breezy because I faced the fear that I had and just did it. Whatever your fear is, do it. Take away the power that fear has over doing it, because Oprah is right. It's not the thing that is powerful. It is the fear that you have of the thing that is powerful. So face it and keep it moving. All right. Now, if I lose you and you got a question, you just want to ask it. I know they're trolling. Yes, I use the word trolling. They're trolling the chat for me in case you guys have questions that you want to ask me at the end and you forget or you don't want to ask out loud. They are trolling it. The next thing I will say to you, I said I was coming back to this. Choose your circle of friends. Notice I didn't say associates. Notice I didn't say homies. Your circle of friends and where they sit in your theater. Because I've got different people who sit different places in my theater. I love theater. I did undergrad. I went to school for theater. I love the theater. I love to go see plays. But if you notice, my little circle that's right there in the middle, you'll see her right here. It's green and red and yellow and blue right there. That's the circle representing my circle of friends. And you'll notice that they're right there in what's called the orchestra pit. Can you all see it? Nod your head if you see it. My friends are in right here at the front of the stage. They're in the orchestra pit and they're there for a reason. Now, I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about this thing called friendship. We were not meant to do life alone. We were not meant to do life alone, whether it's having a partner in life, in your personal life, or friends, or colleagues. We were not meant to do life alone. And quite frankly, life is so much better and so much more fun when we do it with other people. Now, the fear that I always have is that I'm gonna pick the wrong people. So I had always asked for a spirit of discernment so I could discern people when they come into my space. I automatically know folks when they come in. I know why they're there. I know what they're asking for, and my instincts are never wrong. And every time I've second guessed it and given people access who I knew up front shouldn't have had access, I knew it because they came back to bite me. In my theater called life, if you look at a stage, right at the front of the stage, if you're in a big theater, is what's called the orchestra pit. That's where the orchestra sets up. If you're doing a musical on Broadway, the orchestra sets up. Now, if you're on the stage like me and you fall off, you better pray. I always want the people, the big dudes who play them big old instruments like the trombones and things like that to be sitting closest to the stage. Because if I fall, I want them to break my fall. So the people that I want in my life that I put closest are the people that I trust the most. Because what I've got to be able to trust is that if I fall, my girls are gonna catch me. They're never gonna let all of this hit the floor, because they love me enough to catch me if I fall. All of you need to find friends who will catch you when you fall. Now, my first friend is God. Every time I fall, I know that I'm not gonna land too hard because God is always gonna catch me. But in the real, in the everyday people that I can see, feel, and touch, I have a core group of people. And there are a lot of people who think that they're in my inner circle. and they're not. My inner circle is comprised of people that I trust with my life. The chief of my inner circle is my sister Tanya. I have had to trust her with my life. As we have walked this path with my mom for the last 5 years, I trusted my sister with my life and she caught me. She's my big sister. She always played big sister and she's always been a great big sister. Then I've got a few friends who I know if I take something to them, it's going to the grave with them. My friend Shauna, I call her the vault because Shauna, I can tell her anything. And after my mom, she's the one person who I know when she died, all my secrets are going with her. If I kill somebody, now that my mama is gone, the first person I'm calling is Shauna because she's going to hold all my secrets. Now, she holds me accountable, though, for who I am and how I walk in the world. She's my brand manager. She's the person who makes everybody introduce me as the Amazing T Street because she helped me to create that brand. I have been called Amazing T Street by presidents. I've been called the Amazing T Street by Congress people, by everybody that you can name. Kids call me, hey, Amazing, because she was my brand manager and refused to let anybody introduce me without that title. Everybody needs a person like that. But then I've got a friend named Q, Dr. Q. Q is the person who will always tell me about myself and hold up the mirror of reflection that says, you know, T, I love you like a fat kid loves cake, but you wrong as two left shoes. You need to fix this because your friends, your real friends will tell you when you're wrong because they want you to be your best self. So when you all are out there, you know that song, what about your friends? Will they stand their ground? Will they let you down? Again, my friends don't let me down because they all have a role to play and I expect them to play it. There's some other people who are second tier friends. Yeah, I love TLC too, who are second tier friends. I put them on the front row, but they can't be in the orchestra pit because they sometimes don't show up correct. They don't always have my back. They love me, but they don't always have my back. And sometimes it's because my back is too heavy. It's too much to carry. So I don't always put the weight of that on them because they can't always carry me. And then there's some people I put in the back of the theater because when I look out, I want to see their faces. But then there's some people I put in the balcony of my life. All my haters, which I never give credence to, sit in the balcony of my life. People are like, I wouldn't even let them in my theater. Guess what? I'll let them in my theater because they get to watch God bless me. They can come into the theater and everything that they meant for evil for me, they get to watch me be blessed. They get to watch me walk out the greatness called this thing called life. And so they can be in the theater. How many of you have heard or seen that meme that says, I use my haters as motivators? Have you ever seen that? I hate that. That is the stupidest sentiment I have ever heard. I know what it's supposed to mean. It's supposed to mean, you know, when people don't expect greatness from you, you go out and you prove them wrong. I don't prove anybody anything. The only person I'm accountable to is me and God. That's it. I'm not out here trying to prove anybody one way or the other. I don't use my haters as motivators because if my haters die tomorrow and they're my motivation is gone. I use me and my expectations and the goals that I set for myself as my motivation. Don't use your haters as your motivators. I'll give you an example. The teacher who put me back on a path, her name is Emery S. Hill, the late Emery S. Hill. She changed everything about my life. She made me believe that I could graduate high school in 2 years with a 4.0, with a really high ACT score, that I could go to college and I could be somebody. At the same time that she was telling me that, I had another teacher who was a hater. She was like, she's trying to tell you all this. You're still never going to be anything. All you are is a thug and blah, blah. She fed all that nonsense. I just never listened to her. Now, I won't tell you that sometimes I major in petty. Sometimes I'm going to get an associate's degree. I ain't going to get no master's degree in it, but I am because it says something about me. But sometimes I will get an associate's degree in petty because when she told me I was never going to be anything, she wasn't my motivation while I was in school. When I got my high school diploma, I sent her a copy. I made a copy at what used to be Kinko's at the corner of 15th and High. I made a copy and I sent it to her. And I said, step 1. When I got my bachelor's degree, I sent her a copy. And I said, step 2, because I wanted her to know she was wrong. Don't speak death over people. It's just not okay. especially when you're an educator who holds kids in your hands. And when I got my master's degree, I sent her a copy. So my friend and teacher who inspired me, Emery Hill, who was really the inspiration, not this woman, I said, "Is she mad?" She said, "Girl, she's salty." And when I got my first speech check for speaking, y'all, back then, at my very first paid speech, I got a check for $500. Well, I'm poor. Well, I was poor. I grew up on the south side of Columbus. I was poor. My sister said we weren't poor, we were po. We couldn't afford to be poor because it took an O and an R that we didn't have. We were just P-O, just po. And so when I got my first check for $500 for speaking, back then I thought that was a lot of money. Today, I'm like, that's a gift, that's an honorarium, that's a love offering, that's because I love you. But back then that was a lot of money. I took a copy of it, y'all. The check and the reason, it said 1 hour motivational speech on the little attachment to the check. And I took it and made a copy and I sent it to her. And I said, when in your life have you ever made $500 for 1 hour of work? I guess you were wrong. And then I sent her a little note that said, Oprah Winfrey said it best, living well is life's best revenge. I never have to do or say anything to other people. All I have to do is live out and walk out my best life. That's all. I don't have to focus on what other people think or do or any of those things. She was never my motivator. My motivator was the teacher, who until her death was also my friend, who believed in me, who encouraged me. Find people in your circle. As you are going through college, if you are going to be linked with some of these amazing mentors, use them up. Make them pour into you. They owe, for the record, all of the mentors who are on here, you owe these young people because somebody helped you to get where you are. You owe all of the students who are going to be looking to you for mentorship and for advice. You owe them. I owe. When people reach out to me, I'm like, man, I owe so much because my life has been so enriched and so blessed. So all of you who are waiting, you owe. All of the students who are coming behind, you owe it to yourself. Mentorship is a two-way street. You can't bring zero to the table and expect the mentor to pour. You got to bring something, and it's a dualistic relationship, always back and forth. You got to give as much as you get. That means you got to show up when it's your time. Don't blow off people's time because time is a valuable commodity. When people give it to you, it's a huge gift. The greatest gift I have that I offer to people is my time because I have so little of it. Because I'm stretched so thin, I do a lot. And so when I give you my time and you blow me off, I never give you the second opportunity to blow me off. So when the mentors show up and they give you their time, bring who you are and meet them at the table. Mentors, make sure that you're taking time for self-care. Make sure that you are literally filling your own pitcher because an empty pitcher cannot fill empty cups. And some of these young people are going to be coming to you. Some of these students are going to be coming to you with empty cups. So it's important that you take time for you, that you not overextend, that you replenish all the things that are a necessity for you to feel whole and to feel full. I get to pour out because I always go back and fill up. I fill up. I have a standing every 2-week massage with my boy Russell because he got fingers out of this world. And I have to do that for me because when I'm laying on Russell's table and I am putty in his hands, it's magical for me. It's how I replenish. I have to get up every day and pray because that's how I replenish. I fill my cup so that I have something to overflow into all of the cups that are before me. And so all of the mentors, I'm going to ask you that before you start to pour, make sure that your pitcher is full. That's really, really important. And sometimes we forget that when we're mentoring other people. That's why sometimes my answer to young people when they ask me to mentor has to be no, because I never want to give them leftovers. Never want to give young people leftovers. And so if I don't have the time to make the full commitment, my answer is often, I just don't have the time. Let me find somebody who might be able to do that in my stead. All right. So we got learning how to love yourself unconditionally without apology and believing that you deserve a good life. We got drive the car that was meant for you. We got face your fears. We got literally the next thing that we are all embarking on. I'm gonna share screen again. Is this notion of choose your friends wisely. You got to make sure that you choose good friends and know where to place them in your theater. The next one is trade potential for actual. Trade potential for actual. At the top, you see a light bulb. That's potential for light. At the bottom, you see a light, and there is a difference. If you're really gonna get your life, and this is the hard part, you're gonna stop walking in potential. Mentors, when you are mentoring these students, I need you to stop telling them how much potential they have. Raise your hand, everybody who's on the screen. If somebody's ever said to you, you have such great potential, raise your hand if you've ever been told that. I'm gonna say this to you. So what? This is so controversial, and I love the fact that I don't mind controversy. So what? So what? Somebody, let me see. Somebody unmute and tell me, do I have any singers on the, anybody here a singer? I have
Only in
singers.
the shower.
Who said only in the shower? Girl,
Latasha.
go turn on the water and start to sing. Do I have
I like
do I
to
have
sing
any-
Miss T Streets. This is Lakin.
Who said that?
My name's Lakin.
Lakin, you said you can sing?
I can sing. You gonna make me sing on here?
Yes, ma'am. Sing for me.
You want me to sing for you right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna turn my video off though.
Okay, sing.
I just made a song with my friend the other day, so I'll sing you some Queen Latifah.
Go on, give it to me.
Okay. Just another day living in the hood, just another day around the way. Feeling good today, feeling lovely, yay. Just another day living in the hood, just another day around the way. Feeling good today, feeling
Yes.
lovely, yay.
How many of y'all feeling good now? Raise your hand if you're feeling good. Like, I want you to see all these people whose hands are in the air. Throw your hands in the air like you don't. Let me say this to you. You, my darling, are a singer. You're not potential for singing. You are a singer. If I had said, sing for me, Lakin, and you had said, oh, you're not going to sing, I would say to you, you're not a singer. You potential for singing. How many of you were blessed by just another day? Feeling good today. I was blessed by that. Let me say this to you. If you don't do the thing that you are called to do, you are merely taking up space in the universe. Potential equals zero. It means nothing. If you don't walk out the thing that you are called to do and actualize that which is placed inside of you, it means nothing. The greatest potential in the world lives, lies, and rests in the cemetery because people live this life every day without fully walking out the thing that they were called to do and the person they were called to be. So what if you have the potential to be a great singer, if you never open up your mouth and hit a bar? So what if you have the potential to be a great dancer, if you never get your butt up and plie? So what if you have the potential to be a great mathematician, but you never work out a math problem? So what if you have the potential to be a great minister, but you never minister to anybody but yourself? So what if you have the potential to be a great student, if all it is locked inside of you and you never become a great student? It is wasted in the grave. Me, I'm gonna be a grave robber. I intend to leave everything that I was brought here to do on the table. When they put me in the ground, it will simply be a carcass. It will be empty because I made a promise to God that if he would give me purpose, I would walk it out. I would leave everything on the table. So whatever it is that you're called to do it. Potential equals nothing. That light bulb, if we were in a dark room, the light bulb in and of itself doesn't help us to see better. It doesn't become light until we flip the switch and the bulb becomes light that it helps us to see. The bulb is potential for light. The light helps us to see. My question to you is, what area of your life are you operating in potential when you should be operating in actuality? Potential equals zero. Do the thing that you were meant to do. And it doesn't mean that you might not have more than one thing to do, but whatever those things are that are inside of you, don't keep them inside of you because they're wasted in the grave. Someone needs a gift that is uniquely yours. I can tell you that math tutor who got me through econ at The Ohio State University and stats, That was his gift. It was what he was brought here to do. I would not have no degrees if it was not for the math tutor. He walked it out every day. He made me show up. He showed me how to do stats. And I was able to pass my statistics class in undergrad so that I could go on to Ohio State's dime and get that master's degree. I'm just saying. But that was his purpose. That was one of his purposes. Now, different people come into your life for different reasons. And I will say this to you. As people have been talking about the spaceship, the space shuttle Challenger that exploded, I remember where I was when it happened. I was in Drake Union at Ohio State coming from a theater class, and I saw it in the hallway when it exploded. And I love space. I've been to Cape Canaveral because I like to watch rocket launches. There's something about space that just fascinates me. I wish I had studied astronomy, but I barely got through that class. So I was like, no, I'm good. But I'm fascinated by it. Have you ever noticed that they always launch space shuttles over the ocean? Because in the middle of the shuttle is the rocket itself. And on the side are the rocket boosters. They're the people who help you launch. I have rocket boosters who have been mentors to me, who have been amazing people for me. But I will tell you, they were essential for my launch, but they were not meant to go into orbit with me. And so sometimes you have to leave some folks behind because while they're essential for your launch, the weight of them is too heavy for you to carry it where you're going. Right before the rocket leaves Earth's atmosphere, the two rocket boosters fall off with those little parachutes and they fall into the ocean, and NASA goes out and retrieves them and brings them back and uses them over and over and over again. There are people in your life who are meant to be your rocket launchers and your rocket boosters, but they were never meant to go into orbit with you. And so when you go to your next, it's okay that everybody who started with you doesn't finish with you. It's okay that everybody is not at the same plane in life because that may not be their purpose. But whatever is your purpose, I need you to walk it out. So I'm going to give you all some time to, I'm going to put up my screen. So if you want to find like ways to follow me, I'm going to ask you if you wouldn't mind, go to my YouTube and subscribe just because I'm trying to build up my subscriptions. I have on Wednesday evenings, I'm going to be doing it different this year. I do a Wednesday night thing that I post called Coffee with Tea. It's just a really short motivational. I think the longest one is like 15 minutes, but usually it's like 3 or 4 minutes. But I'm going to be doing a series starting in February. I meant to do it in January, but life happened, called Tell Your Story as an Act of Faith, where I'm going to invite people on to tell your story. So if any of you are interested in coming on to tell your story, facing your fear and telling your story, Angela, if anybody's interested in that, Angela, I'd love to hear from you. I'm going to give you my contact information. I'm on Instagram at Amazing T Street. I am on Facebook. I never go to that Street Talk with the Amazing T Street. Just come on my T Street page. That's how you know what's going on in my life. My email, just so you know, when you email this Amazing T Street at Gmail, you don't really get me. You get my agent, Georgina. If it's something personal, she will forward it to me. My website is amazingtstreet.com. My YouTube channel is The Amazing T Street. Instagram at Amazing T Street, and Twitter is at T Street. So no excuse if you're trying to reach me for not reaching me. You can take a screenshot of the screen. I wanted to put it up before I open it up. If you want to purchase my newest book, I don't usually, promote my stuff, which my agent keeps telling me makes me suck. But this is my new book. It's titled When Love Flows Through Broken Hearts, and Love Notes to My Children and Yours. It's the 5-month chronicle of love notes that I wrote to my son to let him know that no matter how he walks in the world, that he is loved. So I'm going to open it up. And if you have questions, if you don't want to ask it, you just want to put it in the chat because you're shy. Katrina and Q and Sarah will help me with that. But if you aren't afraid and you want to ask me a question, by all means, unmute yourself. And I will answer almost, I don't think I've ever been asked a question that I didn't answer. So
this is Sheila. I just would like you to, can you put your information back up again one more time?
Yes, ma'am, I sure can. Hang on one second, give me a sec.
Can I make a really quick announcement? I just want to say thank you so much for being with us today and being the amazing person that you are. I'm feeling like super inspired and like ready to take on the world and I can do anything. And I think it's such an amazing reminder that, you know, it's so important to love ourselves. And I have like pages full of notes here. I just love it. Thank you so much for being with us today. Really quick, just wanted to let everyone know that next Friday we have, which is the 5th, Women's Connection info session. Our next core group is February the 26th. So in case you guys didn't get that down at the very beginning, February 26th is our next core group. And so we're going to do a quick Q&A with the amazing T Street. And then at the end, please stay on because we're going to raffle off one of her books. So if you're on here, we got your name in a raffle. Stick around. You might win some cool stuff. So, and then if anyone has any questions, so we can go ahead and start. So thank you.
I like your story, to be honest. Like, it's an inspiring story. Like,
I think
Hi.
I someone talking.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Hi, my name is LaShondra Tinsley. I just wanted to say hello and thank you for your grace and your mercy and just blessing us with the motivation that you blessed us with today. My spirit was so low, and it's not often low. I was just having challenges today. I have a huge race that I'm running, and a lot of people are I guess doubting me. I don't doubt myself, but you know, sometimes it can just bring your spirit down a little bit. So I just needed to hear what you said, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being on here. Thank you for being obedient to the gift that God has blessed you with. And I will follow you. I'm going to send you a friend request on Facebook, and I will subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
This is Latasha Bonner. I just want to say thank you. Every time I hear you speak, it's just a different experience. And there was, I have your first book. There was some things I could relate with too, because I too lived at Rosemont and was in and out of all the different group homes, and a lot of people counted me out. But I'm just striving for success for myself and my children, because my story or my, past life doesn't determine my future. So it's just very encouraging, and I definitely appreciate you being here, and I'm looking forward to getting your next book.
Thank you. Whatever your past is, let it stay there.
I have a question.
So hang on, give me just 1 second. So in my faith, it teaches, and this is what I walk out all the time. It teaches that the past is just that. And the reason that I love God the way that I do is because he said, I cast it into the deepest sea of forgetfulness, never to be brought forward. So when folks bring it up, I know that that's not of God. For me, the litmus test is Jeremiah 29:11, which says, I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you. So if it's not prospering me, if it's doing me harm, it's not of God. And so for me, I always just keep walking it out, and I know that it's man-made if it's not prospering me, and it's not, and if it's doing damage to me. And so I just I always just leave it in the past. Do I go back and say, I'm grateful to God for how far he's brought me? Yes. When I look back at the days of Rosemont and the awful experiences that I had, I'm grateful because I have such an appreciation for the life that I get to live today. I'm sorry, next person.
Thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm interested to do public speaking. Like,
I can't hear you. Can you all hear her? Is it me?
I said, I'm interested to do public speaking. Like, how was it for you? Like, I like to do like public speaking.
So you're interested in doing public speaking?
Yeah.
People always say, how do you do it? Do you just speak? So when I started public speaking, I wasn't speaking for pay. Okay, let me take that back. So when I was in college, when I was at Ohio State, they had a program called the Rape Education and Prevention Program. And people always said, oh, T, you're a great speaker. I never saw myself as a speaker. I was just like, okay. Truthfully, they said, girl, you should go get trained to become a facilitator, because they paid, this is what got me. They paid, when you're an undergrad, back then, that was a lot of money. They paid $40 an hour. Y'all, I would love to tell you that I was this great feminist who was out there trying to make, a difference in the world. No, I was trying to get $40 an hour. So I went and got trained. And I learned the curriculum, and then I learned to put my own spin on the curriculum. And I became the most sought after trainer. All the Greeks, white and black, wanted me. All the fraternities and sororities wanted me to be the speaker. All the classrooms would request me because my philosophy is you can tell a story. You don't have to beat people up with it. And so the men never wanted to hear the speakers because they were always what the men saw as men haters. And my thing is, if men can't hear the message of ending rape, the rest hardly matters. Because if the messenger is so offensive that the people who need to hear it most can't get it. So I started changing the curriculum. I kept the curriculum, but I put my own spin on it. And so that was my first real introduction. And then I fell in love with the purpose of the rape education program and really fell in love with the mission. And then I worked at Choices. But when I got to Teen Institute, which is, so I was telling them earlier, I never intended to work with kids. I planned to work in corporate America, and I was working in corporate America, making really, really good money. And then I was introduced to this program called Teen Institute that in a weekend changed my life and literally put me on destiny. So much so that 6 months later, I took a $55,000 pay cut to go work with kids because it was my calling and I've never looked back. And so when I started working with TI, I would just do workshops for them. My first workshop with Teen Institute was one on teen dating violence called Black and Blue Are Not the Colors of Love. Talking to girls about, when I realized that the statistics on the numbers of girls that were in abusive relationship as teenagers, I wanted to do something about it. So my workshops were just for them. And people started saying, T, your workshops are better than some of the paid speakers that we have. And so my very first paid speech was in Bucyrus, Ohio, Bucyrus, up the road. My friend Dustine was running the Teen Institute program there, and she invited me to do their middle school TI program as my first speech. My first speech was called, I Want You to Be a Player. That's that speech where I got that $500. And that was kind of how the road opened for me. And so I would say to you, if you want to be a speaker, go speak. It's kind of like Sister Act. When they said, how you know you're supposed to be a singer? She said, if you wake up in the morning and you can't do nothing else but sing, then girl, you were meant to be a singer. If you're supposed to be a speaker, start speaking. Your gift will make room for you. Start speaking if that's what you're called to do. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Anybody else?
Hi, I just wanted to say this is my first time ever hearing you speak, and you really motivated me today. I've been dealing with a little bit of stuff going on in my life right now, and I was like, I gotta do this meeting today, and I was like, let me get up and get dressed, and then I started listening to you, and I was like, oh wow, I've been texting my friends oh my god, yo, she's giving me life, on this Good Friday morning, and I just want to thank you so much for coming to speak.
I want to thank you guys. To be able to pour this morning meant everything to me. I will say to you, Sydney, that life will always be life. It will always throw you curves. It will always, it will sometimes be hard. It will knock you down. Always have the spirit of get up. Don't stay in the valley too long. The temptation is to stay in the valley. I'll tell you, this week, I literally have cut myself off the whole week. My Facebook posts have been short and sweet and to the point. My grandson got me up yesterday and told me, Kuma, I need to see your face. Because I wouldn't even come on camera. And he was like, Kuma. He calls me Kuma because I told him I'm too young to be a grandma. So Kuma stands for cool grandma, Kuma, C-O-O-M-A, Kuma, because I'm too young to be a grandma. He says, Kuma, I don't want to talk to your voice. I want to see your face. And so I came on for the first time yesterday. Didn't really want to see him. Wasn't in the mood to talk to him either. And that's a big deal. Went to the beach last week. We buried my mom on Thursday. Me and my sister decided to drive my dad to Greensboro to spend time because he's going through. Imagine your best friend of 60 years is gone. The person you share a home and a life with is gone. So we drove him to Greensboro to spend some time with his sister. And my sister and I drove to Carolina Beach and spent the weekend in Carolina Beach just rejuvenating, being on the beach, doing worship in the morning, which is watching the sun rise and doing worship is the closest I feel to God. And so I went and rejuvenated. But still, when I came back, I thought I was better prepared for death. I prayed for my mom to not have a long life with Alzheimer's. And that my friend had watched her mom lay in a nursing home for 6 years, not knowing who she was. And I asked God to give my mom mercy for her years of faithfulness. And I didn't expect it to be quite as fast, but my sister, my dad, and I all prayed for the same thing. So I thought in praying that and really wanting God to end my mother's suffering, that I would be ready for it. Nothing prepared me for the grief that I feel. Nothing prepared me for the pain. But it doesn't last always. And the greatest indicator of future behavior is past behavior. And my philosophy about God is simple, that I've been able to trust God with my past, so I know I can trust it with my future. And so that's where I lean. My faith is everything to me. It's where I lean on the hard mornings when I wake up in the middle of the night. Last week, I eulogized my mother. My mother asked me to do her eulogy, not her pastor. And so I eulogized my mother last week. And when I told her, when she asked me, I was like, Mom, I don't think I can do that. She, as my dad said, stop telling people that your mother asked you. She ain't asked you. She did what she always did. She told you, you're going to do it. And you said, I don't think I can. And she said, you can and you will. So today, being able to pour into all of you is a part of the calling that I have, that when you've been blessed, you're supposed to pass it on. And so today, just being able to offer you guys hope, knowing that life comes and sometimes it's hard, but you just keep making the same choices, keep loving you, keep getting up every day, just get up, take a shower when you don't feel like taking a shower. COVID has been difficult and nobody wants to acknowledge it. Nobody wants to say it's been a rough time. It's been rough. It's okay to acknowledge that, but it's not okay to stay in defeat. It's just not okay to stay there, because if you do, the longer you stay there, whatever we feed grows. If you feed depression, it grows. I love the fact that you all have counseling as an option, and that earlier Katrina was promoting the counseling services. If you feel like you just need somebody to talk to, there is no shame in seeking help. There is no shame. I spent Tuesday on the phone with my therapist. She thought she was going to get away with 1 hour. I booked 2 back-to-backs because I knew I needed 2 hours. I had some ish on my mind, y'all. And so there's no shame in it for me. And so I do both. I pray and I talk it out. So I'm not going to ever stay in the valley too long. I might visit it, but I won't pitch a tent, because the mountaintop is what I'm called to. And that's what we're all called to. The question is, will you walk it out? Will you climb that mountain even when it's hard? Even when it's hard. Oh, look at a baby in the picture. Oh, I love that. Latasha, I love it. Anybody else have another question? We've got about 5 minutes.
I don't have a question, but I do want to just tell you thank you for coming and spending your time with us. And not only thank you, but I want to tell you that I am proud of you, because wow. My little cousin, she was 17 years old at the time, but she had been struggling with mental health for a long time. She was in a lot of group homes, Huckleberry, Buckeye, all those. And she ended up taking her own life in my grandma's backyard. And I know, like, she struggled so bad in what she went through. And so I'm just proud of you for overcoming and then turning your life around and using it to help us. I'm just very grateful.
So I don't normally talk a lot about faith because folks, feel funny about it, and different people practice different faiths. But I will tell you this, one of the things I talked about last week in my mom's eulogy was the amazing woman of faith that she was. And during the times when I was suicidal and things like that, my mom would call me and she'd be interceding for me and praying for me, even when I didn't want her to, when I was begging her to stop praying, just let me die and all that stuff. And so I'm so amazingly blessed to have had a mom who prayed for me. And so I do that when I hear about young people who are struggling. I pray for them and I intercede for them. And because someone did it for me. When I say I owe big. When I get to pour out, it's because I owe so much. The life that I get to live, the whole Amazing T Street thing, and traveling literally across the country to speak. I've been out of the country to speak. I never imagined that a little poor kid from the south side of Columbus would ever be doing the things that I've been blessed to be able to do. And so when I get the opportunity to pour, I owe. So I will always, when I can, show up to pour. And so this morning when I was feeling so low, I was like, man, I should have just had Georgina cancel because I don't think I got anything inside that will pour. You all just, I appreciate you turning on the cameras when I asked you to, because it literally, seeing your faces just brought life to me, and it made me perk up. For the mentors who are on the phone, thank you. Thank you. I've been so blessed to have amazing mentors, even today, in my life, who helped me along my journey, both my personal and my professional journey, called life. And I'm a better person for having really great mentors. And so I hope that all the mentors who are on here will know how valuable who you are is in the universe. Never discount the power of having someone stand behind you and tell you, you got this. So I'm grateful. I thank you all for your time today. I thank you for sharing your time with me, Katrina and Sarah and Q. I thank you for allowing me to be a part of your kickoff this time. I feel so super humbled because there are a million speakers in the world, and you could have chosen anyone, and you came back and asked me. I don't take that for granted, and I don't take that lightly. I'm super humbled by the fact that you guys asked me again. So thank you.
Thank you, T, so much. And of course, you know, I want to say this right now. I'm receiving messages from people, even private messages. Today was on purpose. Having you today speak at this moment was on purpose. The fact that what I'm seeing is that not only are you pouring into us, this is pouring into you. And that part of us pouring into each other with these unique situations all of us are going through is so empowering. And it's really what the definition of a village is. When you talk about having a village of individuals that really want to support you and care about you, that's the definition of what Women's Connection is. And I just want to say thank you again for being here and for speaking to us today, because I know not just not for me, but for everyone, today has been a really healing and a moment of purpose and awakening. So thank you so much, T.
Can I shout out Sarah? Sarah, thank you so much for even introducing me to Women's Connection 4 years ago. And then I have to shout out the woman I laugh all the time, I tease her, I call her my Facebook pastor, Tracy Thornton, who I always know, even if I don't see her, I always know that she's interceding for me. And there's something to be said for that. So I did want to shout both of them out and tell you both how much I love and appreciate you. And when I watch Sarah do her thing, I'm always amazed and like, go on, Sarah, I see you, girl. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that I shouted out Tracy and Sarah both. And thank you both for coming on to support me today.
T, thank you so much. This is Sarah. I love you so much, and you helped us kick off this movement. So we have so much gratitude for you, and thank you for your continued partnership to us.
Absolutely. So, all right. Is there anything else? Did I forget anything?
T, I believe that we have one more question. It's from Amani. She has her hand raised.
Amani, where are you?
Hi, I'll show my face. I'm sorry, I've had a busy morning and I'm currently working from home, so I've been like multitasking. It wasn't a question, it was just to say thank you, and just like, I almost feel like emotional after hearing you share, just because like I could feel like you talking about it with your mom. And I'm young, I'm only 24, but I lost both my parents, my mom at 12 and my dad at 19. So like just hearing you share your story, I don't want to cry. It just like made me emotional, just like really touched my heart. And just like you sharing everything else, just like really, just I don't know, I just felt like a deep connection, like with just hearing it. And it's just like, wow, like just the inspiration and just hearing you share, it just like really touched my heart. So thank you for sharing your story and just for speaking. And you know, I do appreciate it.
Thank you. And just know that there are people who will come alongside you. One of my mentors is a woman named Kathy Espy. And my mom always told her that she was my other mother. She's like, that's your other mother. And she has called me every day to check on me. And she reassured me. She said, T, I just want you to know all the stuff that you need where a mom has to show up. I will be there. I will show up for you. I will show up to all those awards and all the things that you do that your mom always showed up to. I will show up for you. And so there are people in the world who will still help. It's not the same, but it's very meaningful because she's one of the people who means so much to me. And so I feel super blessed to still have folks in my life who still come alongside me and help me to bandage all my wounds. So just know, Imani, that there are folks in the world who will serve that purpose for you too. All right, guys, is that it? Boy, that hour and a half went fast.
Too fast.
They're putting the link in for counseling services. If you all need those services, ain't no shame in your game. Girl, get your life.
Thank you so
All right,
much,
guys.
T. I want to do the raffle live if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so everybody, I put everyone's name into a live raffle, which I think is so much easier than writing on a piece of paper. Like, I didn't realize this was real until a couple of days ago. But let me open that up. Okay.
I feel like we should get a drum roll.
Drum roll.
We want to
Oh, I
see it on
have
the screen. Share the screen. Share the screen.
Oh, I'll share this. I have so many screens up. I was like, why do I have so many things on? Yes, okay. Let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see
There's
it?
a testimonial about counseling services, so make sure that you know that you see it. This is the
Does everyone
wheel.
see my
Like Wheel of
screen?
Fortune.
It's a Wheel of Fortune. I'm gonna do it this way every time now. Okay, so I'm gonna click it. Let's see who wins. And this is for the Amazing T Street's new book. Is she still with us today right now? Are you online still? Well, Nakaya was just on. I'm going to actually reach out to her. So congratulations to her. I'm really happy that she will be able to read this loving book. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Thank you
Really
for coming
quick,
on a Friday.
Where can we purchase the book? Can you put the link?
Amazon.
Okay.
Amazon.
Okay.
It's on Amazon, Amazing T Street. If you pull up my name, it pops up. Don't accidentally buy the wrong one. Don't buy the pearls one. Buy the When Love Flows Through Broken Hearts. And you can get it if you have Kindle. You can get it on Kindle as well.
I will after usually I send a reflection email. I will include the link to the book, the correct link to the book, if you are interested in purchasing one. But again, thank you so much, T. We really appreciate you. We see you as part of our village, and thank you for being a part of it for the past 5 years. We really are so grateful.
Thank you, everybody. I'm going to let you all do your end of the time thing that you needed to do. I'm going to go, but thank you so